Hey everyone, welcome to Education Quest's Countdown to College live stream from stunting to studying the life of a college cheerleader. My name is Gage Boardman, and tonight we are diving into the world of college cheer, what it's like to juggle life, competitions, and just being a college student. I'm happy to be joined tonight by three college cheerleaders, Haley, Madison, and Steve. Thank you all for being here. Let's just kick things off with some quick introductions. Haley, we'll start with you. Can you just introduce yourself, where you're from, and how you got into cheerleading?
Hi, my name is Haley. I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona, and I currently cheer at Midland University here in Fremont. And I started cheerleading from a very young age, so I've kind of been in the sport, kind of just grew up with it and stuck with it.
Awesome. And as you guys can see, we have Steve right next to her. So, Steve, what about you? Where are you from, and how did you get into cheerleading?
Obviously, my name is Steve. I grew up in Crete, Nebraska. I actually started off as a school mascot, and then I kind of trained with the cheer team, and then I tried out my junior year of high school and been cheering ever since.
I feel like there is kind of like a school mascot to cheerleader pipeline
Yeah,
sometimes.
definitely.
Sometimes. Finally, Madison, can you introduce yourself, where you're from, and how you got into cheerleading?
Yeah, I'm Madison Thurber. I'm from Valley, Nebraska. And I originally started out as a competitive gymnast and dancer. And then my sister actually tried out for cheer in high school. I always wanted to follow in her footsteps. So that's kind of what got me into cheer.
Oh, that's sweet. It's also very rare that I meet somebody else from Valley, Nebraska. So there we go. Okay, well, I say we just should dive in. And I think I'll pose this first question to all three of you, just because I know everyone has different reasons. And I know, some of you have been doing cheer since you were a kid, some since high school. So why did you decide to pursue this, into college? Steve, let's start with you.
Yeah, I just started this sport really early, and so I feel like I have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn, in the sport, and I want to continue it as long as I can.
Yeah. Madison, what about you?
I honestly started out college during the height of COVID, and I really wanted to try out sorority life. And I just felt like there was something athletic missing in my life. So I ended up transferring schools and fell in love with cheer again and just have done that for the past 4 years.
Great. And Haley, what about you?
I've been doing cheer for 13 years now, so it's kind of just a big part of my life that I didn't think I'd be able to give up going to college. So,
That's awesome. 13 years is a lot of dedication. And so let's actually just talk about, getting into cheer in college. Steve, what was the tryout process like for you? Because I know, like, in movies and TV, it sometimes like gets made into like a big scary experience. So, do you have any tips for someone who's never done like a college level audition?
I just be yourself, just take a deep breath. Um, just don't be embarrassed to just show off the skills that you have. And just go in confident, showing things that you know that you can land. Don't try anything new in front of an audition.
Madison, what about you? Is some of that true also?
Definitely be confident. You want to make sure that you're at your healthiest and your strongest for tryouts. But definitely rely on your training. Like your body knows what it's going to do and what it wants to do. So the more you practice how you want your tryout to go is the way that it'll go.
That's great. And Haley, I'm going to turn to you now that we're actually like, you made it to the team. What does a typical like week in the life of a college cheerleader look like? How do you balance school, practice, games, resting?
yeah, it definitely gets chaotic. So, I'm a biology major, so I have like a lot of science classes. So, I start my mornings usually pretty early around 9 and then get done with classes in the afternoon. And then I go to practice. Usually, we have like practice about 3 to 4 times a week and then games on the weekend. So, it's just really finding that balance, making sure you're using a calendar and really like making sure you're focused on like everything that you want to achieve and getting it all done.
Yeah. Being a science major and involved with athletics is crazy. So props to you. Steve, what about you?
I'm an education major, so my days are a little bit more fun classes and all. But yeah, I just basically the same thing. We have the same schedule, for the most part, and just trying to like also trying to find a balance between like having friends and then the sport, like having a life outside the sport as well. Helps a
Yeah.
lot.
Madison, staying kind of with just a similar theme, what's been kind of like the biggest challenge for you transitioning from, high school to the collegiate level?
Um, yeah, I am 22 now, so I've definitely aged a little bit since high school. But I think the biggest change for me was that in high school, it's typically like a parent that's responsible for you and like getting you to all of your activities. And now it's solely on you to remember your practices and your game schedule. So it goes from a little bit of like a parental responsibility to now it's all on you to communicate with your coach and just really communicate. That was the biggest thing for me, was the biggest change.
Yeah. We do a lot of live streams like this where we talk to students about like how is high school versus college? And a big theme is always learning to communicate, keeping those lines of communication open and just keeping everything for a smooth experience. And now, Steve, I kind of want to turn to you. Do you have any like favorite game day or competition day memories so far?
My favorite competition day memory was at our conference a competition. We hit our first zero. We had a long season. We were just trying to build chemistry as a team, and so we hit our first zero at a competition, and went into prelims winning. So that was pretty nice. That was pretty fun.
Okay, explain for our audience, what does hitting a zero mean?
Hitting a zero means you go through a whole routine without dropping a single stunt, without messing up on any of your tumbling. So you hit everything perfectly.
That's crazy, actually. That is pretty crazy. And Madison, what about you?
My favorite game day memory, I just recently got back from March Madness, and that was our school's first time going. So that was really cool to cheer in Rhode Island. Or Nebraska Volleyball Day was really fun too.
Ah, yes. Love it. Okay, Haley, I want to hear about what game day prep looks like. Do you have any routines or anything? What's that look like?
Yeah, so like for here at Midland, like we have like game day practices leading up to game day. So it's kind of just learning like all the material, learning all your chants for the school, and then like we have dances that we specifically do at game day and really just getting comfortable with your stunt group and really going out on game day and hitting all the stunts like you're comfortable with. And then we do like field practices right before games that we kind of go out on the track and do all of the dances, do all of the chants, make sure everyone's comfortable with everything before we actually go out and get to like perform at games.
Yeah. Madison, what about you, since I know you're from a different school?
Yeah, Omaha's a little bit different since we don't have a football team. So we do all of our material learning on our own. So we just have a checkoff practice where you come in and essentially try out to cheer at a game. Typically we have to be at our games about an hour before. So it's like an hour and a half before that I start getting ready. An hour before that I have to make sure that my uniform's clean, that I've eaten, and that I've drank plenty of water for the day.
I always feel like making sure you eat and drink water is very important because I get very hangry very easily. Okay, and I'm going to change our path just a second here because I know this is kind of a hot topic when it comes to college athletics. The cost of college is always on everyone's mind. So, Haley, I'll ask this to you first. Are there any scholarships for cheerleading at your school or like other financial support?
Yeah, all of our athletes are actually on scholarships and they kind of just range by like your school level and like your kind of experience level. So that was like a big reason I came to Midland is such because I got such a good scholarship to cheer and like we're really good with scholarships. So
Steve, same for you, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the great thing about our school is we are NAIA at least. We're considered a sport, and so we are able to get athletic scholarships just like a football player does.
Yeah, that's great. Madison, what about you at UNO?
So cheer is not an NCAA sport, so we did not receive any scholarship funding. So a lot of it is based on donors. If we have money left in our budget at the end of the year, we do kind of like a ranked stipend. So money corresponds. If you're a fourth year, you get more than the freshman at the end of the year if we have anything left over after nationals.
That's great. I want to talk about performing now. Steve, how do you handle the pressure of performing in front of, huge crowds? Do you get stage fright at all?
Definitely, yes. It's terrifying. Every time I step on the mat or go to a game, it's scary because all eyes are on you, and if you mess up, especially as a male, as being the only male on the team, all eyes are on me a lot of times, and so like if I mess up, everyone's gonna notice. So yeah, you just gotta take a deep breath and trust your teammates and trust your coaches and your training.
Haley, what about you?
Oh, I definitely agree. You always get those kind of like pre-comp jitters before you go out on the mat, but the minute I'm the type of person I'm like nervous right before I compete, but the minute I step on that mat, I'm just excited to be out there and put a good routine on.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Madison, I have one final question before we get to the viewers here. Can you just give us like one penultimate final piece of advice for any high schoolers who are looking to pursue cheer in college?
My biggest piece of advice is that there's a school out there for anyone, any skill level. If you want a team that's competing at UCA nationals, find a team that does that. There's also like co-ed teams, all-girl teams, non-tumbling teams. So there's definitely something out there for everyone. If you're interested in a football school, look for a school that has football. Obviously, Omaha doesn't. So know what you're cheering for and know what team you're joining, and it'll be a very successful season for you if you're prepared for that.
Haley, what about you?
I really agree with that. Really just like going knowing that like no matter the school level, there's always a school out there that's willing to take you and you just got to have fun with it, really like put yourself out there and really like just like look into multiple different colleges, see what everyone offers and just like really find what like you want to do in college, whether that's like competition or game day, like look into that too and just make sure you really enjoy like the school itself, but also that you enjoy the team before you go.
Yeah. And Steve, how about you?
Same thing. They really knocked it out the ballpark there. So
Great. Okay, well, that is all my official questions. So we're going to turn to our viewers now. We've been getting a couple questions in here. If you haven't yet, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. Okay, we'll start with what can students expect during tryouts? What actually happens? Steve, I'll give this one to you first.
um uh, we actually don't do tryouts here, so that would be a better question for the other lady
Okay,
there.
I'll turn it to Madison then.
Yeah, so a lot of schools will recruit, which is primarily what Midland does. At Omaha, we don't recruit at all. So everybody goes in with a clean slate. So initially, you're going to send in a video of all of your skills and do like a little bit of an interview question. And then our coach will go through that and make a primary cut. Anybody who makes it through that cut is invited to our in-person tryouts. The first day, it's like an open tryout. So you're there showing off your skills and just interacting with a lot of the teammates to see how you are as a person. The second day is going to be more of that you're learning a content and our coach is going to watch you and give critiques and feedbacks. And then that final day, if you make it to that final day, there's cuts depending on how many people show up. If you make it to the final day, there's going to be a couple interview questions. You're going to stunt in a couple different groups, and then you're going to show off that dance, the fight song, and a couple of cheers and chants.
Great. And how far in advance would you suggest that people prepare for this? Like, I know some of the content you don't learn till you get there, but
My biggest piece of advice is if there's the fight song online somewhere, specifically if it's posted to YouTube, start learning it as soon as possible because that's one variable that you can take out of the way. I would say probably start thinking about tryouts as early as January if for an April or a May tryout, just so that way you can get a stunt group together if there are videos required, or you can work on any tumbling if it's specific to that school. Specifically, ours has a tuck in the fight song. So make sure that you're hitting that pretty consistent before tryouts.
yeah, that's great. I didn't even think about school songs being on YouTube. That's so smart. Okay, Haley, I have another audience question for you. What is the most complicated stunt you perform?
So we perform all kinds of different ones. I feel like this year probably like what do you
I don't know, probably the
probably like either our pyramids or but like if we're talking about like elite stunts, like we did like 1.5 ups, and I will say those were pretty difficult. But baskets, I feel like are always up there for me as like a flyer because baskets are really always on you as a flyer. So really just trusting your bases is like a really important thing, and just kind of going out there and doing whatever is kind of thrown at you at practice.
And baskets are where they like throw you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
So
crazy.
it's really just like all up to the flyer, and like at college level you're flipping. So like it's really all up to the flyer. So I feel like that was probably like the most difficult thing for me to learn this year, was because it's like nothing that you've probably ever done before. So
Yeah. Madison, what about you?
Our team, it kind of depends. We have a co-ed and an all-girl team. Our co-ed team was throwing rewinds and full-up switch-ups. So it just kind of depends on your stunt group and your skill level. Our all-girl, we do J-ups, full-ups, kind of anything. And I feel like baskets really are the hardest, especially if you're working with a new group. Your bases have to watch each other pretty intently, and your flyer really has to trust you. So bases, pyramids, baskets, all that stuff. I feel like all of our stuff is pretty high level.
Cool. Okay, I have one final audience question here. Um, Steve, I'll get this one to you. Do you get to travel with the team, or how does that work?
Yes. So we travel with our competition team. When it comes to sports, we really don't. Like basketball, unless they make like a national appearance somewhere, we might go and travel with them. But our school really does not travel with our team very much.
Madison, do you get to travel at all?
Yeah, so I actually just came back from March Madness. It depends on the game, I will say. Typically, we'll travel more for an NCAA tournament or for our own Summit League tournament, but it just kind of depends on the game, and it depends on our fan population and how close the game is, just kind of making that funding work.
Awesome. And this is just for my own personal curiosity. How do you guys like balance like school while you're traveling? Haley, I'll give this question to you.
So a lot of the time, like if we're like taking a bus, like I try to either do it on the bus, or I'm a big like get it done before the weekend. Like if I know I'm gonna be gone for the weekend, I'll just kind of focus on all that homework like throughout the week and kind of just distribute it more so I don't have to worry about it when I'm gone.
Smart. Yeah. Okay, I think I got to everyone's questions. If we missed you, or if you have any other questions, please feel reach out to any of our Education Quest offices for free help. You can find our contact information at educationquest.org. Madison, Haley, Steve, thank you all for joining me tonight again. It was a pleasure. Make sure you follow Education Quest on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all things FAFSA and college planning. You can also sign up for Countdown to College, which is our short weekly email that's filled with college tips, there's reminders, advice, all that good stuff. And you can find the registration for that again at the bottom of our homepage on educationquest.org. All right. We'll see you next month on Wednesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. for our next live stream, Time Off or Time Well Spent, the Gap Year Decision. Thank you all.